Well, I'll be joined by the legendary BBC broadcaster Roger Bolton later in the show. He may try to defend the corporation. Will you, Graham Davies?
Well, it's strange that about 10 minutes ago you mentioned something appalling that was perpetrated by a senior BBC journalist, Martin Bashir, 3 decades ago. How amazing that they should perpetrate a fraud then. How things have changed at the BBC in the last 3 decades.
Completely reformed. There was also the Peter Fincham drama. This man was running the BBC, controller, I think, of BBC One, when they edited the Queen during a clip in which they made it look like she stormed out of a photo shoot, which, of course, she had not. And he lost his job over it. So the Beeb have previous on this.
Well, I've got to say, I even take issue with your use of the word edit. Now, of course, the edit button on any piece of kit in a TV station is possibly the most powerful piece of kit that anybody can use.
Yes.
But this wasn't an edit. This wasn't a distortion. It wasn't selective reporting. It was an out-and-out fraud. The blend of the first clip with the second clip, which was about, 20 or 30 minutes later in the same
Correct.
speech, you've got to look pretty carefully to realise that it is a blend. And it is an absolute lie. The BBC, I could always accept a certain left of centre bias, a certain tone, because you sort of knew where they stood. But now they've crossed a line massively into essentially a big, dark lie. I'm not somebody who's an automatic Trump fan. He is somebody who sometimes played a bit fast and loose with the absolute truth himself.
I should say so.
And I'm being kind in that description. But especially when you're dealing with somebody like Donald Trump, who perhaps has a loose relationship occasionally with the truth, I believe that the state broadcaster should be very careful to be absolutely pristine clean with this sort of thing.
This doesn't look like one individual editor at Panorama. This is systemic.
The BBC Politburo has a policy of blasting things away with an airbrush. And you look particularly at the Martine Croxall incident.
Yeah.
This is
newsreader that corrected herself and said pregnant women.
This is somebody who, fair play to her, she is a hardcore broadcast news veteran. She takes the idea of objectivity very seriously indeed. I've never seen her have a facial expression. For her to be in some way disciplined because apparently her eyebrow raised by about 0.1 of a millimetre when she did that highly professional correction of pregnant people to women, I find that absolutely mind-boggling. I can imagine the HR interviewer saying, well, I'm afraid when you did that, you showed some integrity, and that's not something we encourage at the BBC.
Devastating but brilliant from Graham Davies, who's back in just a moment.